when you're using feeder strategy with max clicks to tCPA, why does this not help out your competition as well? Because they could set their tCPA campaigns higher and steal that traffic from your max clicks campaign. What am I missing there? John Moran's dog is in the house.
Hey.
Sorry we didn't get to all your questions last week, but we've got 22 minutes to answer questions because I do have a hard stop at the bottom of the hour. You know who I'm selling perpetual traffic advertising to today?
TikTok?
No.
Oh.
Cosm.
Charge him twice as much.
I know. I redid the deck. I doubled all the prices. Anyway.
There you go.
Don't help. All right. John Moran's dog. How you doing, buddy? Great to hear from you. Hey. E-com client with 15% margin on security products. Any tips on scaling shopping without going negative net profit? Needs 660 MER. I believe that's a 6.6 MER. Target to break even, but struggling with scaling profitable.
Okay.
In part to that as well. I don't know if this is part of it.
What is the reasonable budget test? So that's a kind of it's a second question, so it's not related to the first one.
Okay.
Here's my trepidation. Scaling shopping will very, very, very rarely ever result in a 660 MER unless you have a very high AOV. $2,000-$3,000. And
security products might though.
Yes. And so that's where I would say is security products. If you're like a 4-pack of cameras for $99, no. If you're looking at like security gates, yes. So if you could
enterprise cybersecurity systems, yes,
exactly. Yes. And and I don't think that you would probably have a monthly subscription or anything unless it's a fulfillment for monitoring, but that could be something as well.
Right.
But if I'm looking at e-com client for security products, my opinion would be to start, if you haven't already, with the highest AOV products first. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but it works. And I actually have data for some reason. This is actually a client that sells custom-made boxes. And those boxes on the average order value is about $1,800. Now they don't come in at $1,800. They usually will come in to a sample size. Like, I'm just going to get a sample of this product, and then if I like the product, we can order some more.
It's a great offer.
Exactly. So we've scaled this up a bit.
Test it before you really dive right in. Right.
Right. And so we've tested this for some time. Where is it? Sorry, I tried to go fast, but what the heck?
It's really hard when you have headphones on if you have an itch in your ear.
Oh, I know. I hate that.
People are like, what the hell is he doing with his headphones? So we're talking about AOV here to be able to scale up on shopping. It's like, that's the only real, the answer is, unless your AOV is, what's the threshold for high AOV in John Moran's mind?
So that's where I would say is it's going to be dependent upon the campaign. And I know that sounds really counterintuitive and stupid to talk about, but it actually is fairly true. Is if you are trying to get a 660 in standard shopping, I've run thousands and thousands of these campaigns. It's probably a 1% chance it's going to happen. My opinion, you probably have a lot better luck on actually Meta, because you have the law of CPM. Your law of CPM says I can spend $5 and get 1,000 people, or law of CPC is I can spend $5 and get one. Mm-hmm. So that's where I would say that my opinion, I wouldn't even attempt this unless you have at least a $2,000 to $3,000 AOV. If not, my opinion, I would not push here. I would attempt Meta first. If you have to do it on standard shopping, a PMAX feed only, a non-brand, would be your next best bet, because you can force those CPC down with higher tROAS, but then you're limited by scale. I don't have a lot of great methodology, because if you're looking at your AOV is, let's say, $500 and your $5 clicks, I mean, you got 10 clicks before you're not profitable at that MER. Yeah. So that's where it's like your conversion rates can't falter below 20% if you have lower AOV. That doesn't happen. So
you better have a damn good offer.
Yeah, exactly. Violate MAP.
Right.
Yeah.
If you need to.
We've done that.
Mm-hmm.
That actually is not a bad idea. You map pricing and then you do special offer hidden with add to cart. You can do that, but yeah, it's your very uphill battle.
There's ways around it. His second question here, what would you say the reasonable minimum budget and test period for demand gen? How can results be evaluated without back-end data like new customer metrics or third-party tools such as Northbeam?
Yeah, so I actually have tested, no joke, between 15 and 20 demand gens this last month, and I've stopped all of them. Not one of them was profitable. Half of those were actually given to us with free ad spend from Google. Google keeps pushing on it. I said, absolutely. As long as you foot the bill, I'll do whatever you want. You could build it yourself. Actually, a lot of them took us up on that. They put $20,000 in there, and it was the first campaigns. We're like, I know it's free, but it's dragging down our top line metrics like crazy. So we actually just paused them. So I have not yet made demand gen work for bottom of the funnel. Top, middle of the funnel, all day long. Coupons, signups, that kind of stuff, all day long. 50-cent conversions, quality. Bottom of the funnel conversions, no. It's YouTube plus display. It's not going to get any really much better. So I don't like demand gen at all. It's actually completely excluded from my repertoire.
Got it. Makes sense. All right. Brian J says, John, about your 5x tCPA comment, does this apply to YouTube campaigns for purchases? My CPA is 75, set tCPA at 375, daily budget to 500, increasing only after consistent $75 CPAs, question mark.
It's actually 15x. So I usually take whatever my existing CPA is, I multiply that by 15, and then that becomes my YouTube daily ad spend. And that has been tested for years. And that was I was always like, whatever Google says is a lie. That one is actually always very true. Google says back in 2021, 15x your CPA for your targeted daily ad spend. And that's where I'll optimize it within 8 days. I do see that really consistently. Now, when I got a little bit older, a little bit wiser, I noticed that it was a reason why is because it had so much data to attribute to itself, which means as long as I spend a whole bunch of money, I can find people to convert. And when I say find people to convert is I can find people to show ads to that are going to convert anyway and kind of as a gauge view conversion. So the imports have a lot of times wiped out a lot of the YouTube inefficiencies. We'll have some case studies on that. I'm working on that in the lab as CAPI imports. I call them CAPI like Meta, but CAPI imports for Google and YouTube. Really, really interesting stuff happening there. So we'll have more consistent data, but still, if I'm gonna, all right. And as long as I have YouTube available, I'm pushing hard into sequencing. I don't even push hard into video action campaigns anymore. They're just going way too warm without CAPI imports. So it's just pure sequencing. I know they're not.
Probably one of the most exciting things that, you obviously figured it out, but I quickly realized I'm like, holy shit, this is a big deal. CAPI imports, standard events, just like we talked about last week. And we're putting that on hold. We're putting a pin in it so that we can get more data and talk about it maybe next week and the week after that. So exciting stuff coming down the line here. Thank you, Brian J, for that. Mark Pommet. Been a long time since we answered one of his questions. I'm getting way better results with manual CPC over max clicks for feeder strategy. Search partners turned off on both with max clicks. I saw no bump in my tCPA campaign. Thoughts?
That's why my two campaign strategies were always max clicks and manual CPC. If you wanted to have more of a set it and forget it, max clicks does work well because it will self-adjust to your competitors' bids. Manual CPC does work better. And my typical strategy was use max clicks, find out the area where you have a high enough placement for quality, but a low enough placement for volume. And then once you find that, you can lock it in with manual. The problem is when you lock it in with manual, it can work really, really well until unbeknownst to you, your competitor's like, you know what? I'm going to switch to max conversions. I'm going to take off the tCPA and let's actually bump some bit of ad spend. And then manual CPC goes and just hits the ground because now Google's like, someone else wants to earn these clicks first. So your feeder strategy essentially takes a little bit, if they don't have a tCPA or tROAS, means, hey, one of your competitors is actually going to pay twice as much as you are for the same exact person because they don't care if they're going to convert or not within the threshold. And then that starts to go down. Then you find out, okay, if I go back to max clicks, all of a sudden my CPC increases by 40% and all everything's back again. So yes, manual will work better than max clicks, but max clicks will react better to your competitor's ecosystem. So it's up to you if you want to check insights every single day to say like, is my search term I'm searching for still give me the same placement it was yesterday? If not, you have a lagging 7-8 day time lag between all of a sudden conversions falling off and you're wondering what's going on. Well, the bad part happened a week ago and now it's no longer investigatable because now they switched campaign strategies again. Yeah. So that's where I would say is I didn't have enough time in the day to check all the feeder strategies. I just use max clicks for ease. I just set the budget lower. So your mileage may vary. You have potentially maybe 5, 10 clients or 5, 10 campaigns, I had like a few hundred that I couldn't do it. So that was my fix for it.
Right. It's quicker and easier. So, all right, here's a stupid question for you. This is something that I haven't asked, but I'm curious as to what your answer is. When you're using feeder strategy with max clicks to tCPA, why does this not help out your competition as well? Because they could just they could set their tCPA campaigns higher and steal that traffic from your max clicks campaign. What am I missing there?
So tCPA and tROAS goes warm. We've proven this live already. And what ends up happening is I have a standard shopping campaign here on max clicks, and I have a standard shopping campaign here on tCPA. tCPA when you don't have this campaign here, says I'm going to go and get a click from Bob. And then Bob's going to, come to my site and Bob's going to do something. And if Bob looks good, I will then go find Bob later for a higher CPA with a higher CPC. Your competitors don't have the visit from Bob yet. So they don't know how to bid or if that person's ready to buy yet. So because you have a max clicks campaign earning you that data first, now your tCPA campaign says Ralph's been on the site. Ralph has something in cart. When Ralph searches even non-brand again,
your site, not the competitor's site, but wouldn't it help the competitors somehow, some way in there? You know what I mean?
Probably.
Like Google knows too much.
Yeah. I mean, it will. It's not as bad as Meta because it's not proactive. It's still inbound. So that's the only thing is proactive Meta says if you even touch an ad, everyone slams on top of you. Right. Google is if you search again, you have to take the action first. So if you search again, then you're going to get the bid war. Well, I already have more data than my competitors on the bid war because my tag has you ready to buy. Their tag says, who's Ralph?
So if their tCPA is more aggressive, meaning higher than yours, you're still going to win out. Like, how do you know where to set the tCPA?
That's why my tCPA or my tROAS is always 40%. I have a low tROAS all the time. Got
it. Okay. So that prevents you from overspending, obviously, to a certain degree. And it's the happy medium.
I'll use a low tROAS on my conversion campaigns. My feeder strategy will be max clicks or manual. My conversion campaign will be a low tROAS to allow it to bid really high. And then that budget is 8 times higher than my max clicks campaign or 5 times higher, 80-20.